Good morning. Good morning. I am almost ready to start. I have one last little thing to do here, a little bit of housekeeping. I have to post the link in the description if you want to ask a question. And hopefully everything is working. Let me pop this open. If you wonder why I seem a little out of sorts, it's because I volunteered today to do some outdoor duty, and I can't find my winter gloves or my toque, my winter hat. And also, YouTube is giving me some error. So if you could let me know in the chat if this is working, that would be great. I am unable to verify that at my end. Let me see if I can check one more time. People in the chat saying looks like everything is working well. Thanks. That's from Unibi. I can see the chat in my software. I just can't open the stream in my browser. So hopefully video and audio is working good, says Freddie Wolf. Audio and video working, says Hafiez. So looks like that's great. So hey, hello and welcome to this English lesson about work adjectives. This week at work, someone used the word streamlined. The process was very streamlined. And so I thought to myself, this would be a good opportunity to do an English lesson about work adjectives. Adjectives you would use to describe things at work, whether you work in an office or a factory. In this lesson, we'll look at 25 adjectives that you would use at work, and I think you will enjoy this lesson. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about work adjectives. Well, hello everybody. I hope you are having a good day. I hope you're ready for this lesson. I'm hoping that things will work properly the whole time that I am doing this. Please just let me know in the chat if things go awry, but otherwise, I can actually see that it's working now. Handy. Okay. It's always interesting working with technology. And it's always interesting when I lose something that I need that day. It's a little bit annoying. I do want to show you, though, that I did finally get a couch. If you remember, I used to have a small gray couch here. I now have a large gray couch here. And it's very, very nice. And we are very much enjoying that couch. So let me see here. Hello to everybody in the chat. I'm going to get this lesson started pronto because I have a little bit of a different day at school today where I need to be there slightly earlier. It's the last day before Christmas break, and there are extra duties to do. So here we go with this English lesson about work adjectives. Efficient. When something is efficient, it is working well without wasting time, energy, or resources. So the example I have for this is a sewing machine. If you compare sewing by hand and sewing with a sewing machine, this is more efficient. This is an efficient way to sew things together. If you do it by hand, it takes a lot longer. If you have a machine, it is more efficient. We also use this to describe when things use less electricity or less gasoline. This car is very efficient. This this electric motor is very efficient, meaning it uses less electricity or power or gasoline, depending on the device that you are using. But efficient, working well without wasting time, energy, or resources. You can also describe people as efficient. Most of the people I've worked with in my life are very efficient. Sometimes, though, I have to work with someone who isn't, and that is challenging. Wasteful. Using more time, money, or materials than needed. So when you are at work, if you are wasteful, it means you print out things too often and you use too much paper. It might mean if you work on a construction site that you have lots of leftover pieces because you didn't think about how you were cutting up the pieces of wood. When I worked for my uncle, when I was a teenager on the construction site, he would always try to produce as little waste as possible. If we had a piece of wood And if he was going to cut that piece of wood, he would want to make sure he got one or more useful pieces out of the piece of wood or out of the section we were cutting off. So when you are wasteful, it means that you waste things. You are using more time, money, or materials than needed. I'm trying to think about this. At work, I think it's wasteful if sometimes I print and it prints a blank page at the end. And I think to myself, that was wasteful. I do put the paper back in again. But yeah, if you have you ever had that where your document has one extra page at the end? It is wasteful. Inefficient, not working well and wasting time or effort. Now, I have nothing against this computer. In its day, it was very, very efficient. But if you were to use a computer like this at work today, it would be inefficient. Sometimes your computer at work or the machine you are using at work gets old, and there are newer machines that can do the job faster, that are more efficient. And so your computer or your machine becomes inefficient. It becomes less useful. It becomes kind of a waste of time. Like the amount of work you would get done in an hour is far less than if you had a new machine. So when something is inefficient, it is not working well and wasting time or effort. By the way, those were pretty cool computers way back in 1995, maybe 93. I'm not sure exactly when. Well run, organized and managed smoothly. So this factory or this warehouse looks well run. Everything looks very, very organized. And it looks like if you need something from this warehouse, you can get it very easily. I also think this might be an AI generated photo. I have a funny feeling. I normally set it to no AI images on the licensed software I have for getting photos. But to me, it looks too organized and it looks too put together for it to not be. But anyways, when something is well run, it is organized and managed smoothly. And it also implies that a person is running it well. Okay. If you say that's a well-run organization, it means the boss and the managers are also very organized and they manage things very, very smoothly. I love it that I work at a well-run school. I really appreciate how the principal and the vice principal and the administrative team work. They are very, very efficient. It is a well-run organization, and that makes happy workers. Productive, producing a lot of useful work or results. So of course, robots are very productive. They are more productive than humans at certain jobs. Humans have to eat. They need to sleep. They need to take breaks once in a while, or their work becomes poorly done. But robots are very, very productive. They can work 24 hours a day. They do need to be fixed every once in a while. They do need to have maintenance done to them, like they need to be oiled or greased or those types of things. But certainly, if you were to compare, for certain jobs, robots are more productive than human beings. They are producing a lot of useful work or results. Car factories primarily use robots to put cars together. I shouldn't say primarily. I'm not an expert on this, but car factories generally have a lot of robots, and they are very, very productive on the assembly line. And then, of course, sorry, I have robots in the productive picture and unproductive. I have some gentlemen working on the road, not producing much useful work. So a common complaint is that when they are doing road work, that there are way too many people and they're very unproductive. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4 people standing around. I'm sure they're probably planning what to do. You do need to talk about work before you do the work. But yes, you could argue though that there isn't a lot of work getting done, that they are being unproductive, not producing much useful work. I'm not sure of the exact situation, but my guess is they're certainly not being productive right now. They are being unproductive. Streamlined. So this is the word that made the lesson possible. I heard the word streamlined. It means simplified to remove unnecessary steps. So let's say at your work, you have a job to do, and there are 17 steps from the beginning until the end of the job. And you realize that step 14, 15, and 16 can be combined into one step, and it can be much faster. You would be streamlining the process. You would be making it more streamlined. When I also worked on the farm for my dad, and when I worked in construction, my dad and my uncle both really liked to have things streamlined. They didn't want you to walk too far back and forth when doing a job. They didn't want you to, if you had a tool that you needed in two spots, they would have a tool at each spot so you didn't have to carry it back and forth. They made things simplified, more efficient, so that you could get more work done. When a place of work is streamlined, it is more productive. You are more efficient. All of the positive words that I've taught you so far. Hey, let's look at some questions and let me check to make sure this is working. I think it's working because I see people talking in the chat. Let me get to some questions. Okay, I also need to relax a little bit. Again, there's three things happening. Number one, the technology is working, but I'm getting some errors, so that makes me annoyed. Number two, I have to be at work. Like literally my first class starts at 9:40. So I have to be very efficient, and this needs to be well run, and I need to be productive because I need to get to work on time. And then number three, I can't find my winter hat and my winter gloves. And I actually have to stand outside later today because the school is going on a walking field trip. So Jen's looking for those now. So hopefully she finds them. Here we go. Let's see here. Going to only go with questions related to the topic. Judith says, "Hi Bob, Merry Christmas to you and your kind family. I hope you don't overwork during the holidays. I will try not to. I am specifically going to only do," okay, here's the plan. Christmas greeting on Tuesday, live lesson on both Fridays, and that's all I'm planning to do during the break. But I'm also doing a live lesson on January 3rd, I think. We'll see. And then from Judith, "Hi Bob, what kind of work are you the most efficient at?" Let's put an at there. Thank you. Usually anything that you can do on a computer. I am pretty good at using spreadsheets and those kinds of things. Yep. From Henry from Taiwan, "Hi Teacher Bob, how do you cope with the conditions when you feel stressful at work? I do experience some between now and then. Thanks so much." So there's a few things I do when I am stressed at work. Number one, I clean my workspace. I don't like it to be messy at my desk. I have a desk in the staff room and I have a desk in my classroom. I make sure both spaces are very, very neat and tidy. And then generally I try to talk with staff. Like my colleagues are very nice people. And so just having conversations about my day with other teachers can be very, very helpful. From Judith, "Hi Bob, what kind of relaxing work do you know? I wish you happy holidays." The most relaxing work for me, believe it or not, is teaching my computer science class. That is a very enjoyable job. And I like technology a lot, so it doesn't sometimes feel like work. So people are helping me out here because that's the last question in the queue. So I will be able to continue with the lesson sooner than expected. Let me have a sip of water and we will go back to the slides and keep on going. Let me say hi to a few people first though. Hi to Freddie Wolf. Hi to Judith Aerosmith in the chat. Hi to Ismail. Hi to Julia Tar. Hi to, let me scroll down here. Brent's here from American English with Brent. Good to see you, Brent. Hope you're going to have a nice holiday as well. And a lot of other familiar faces. Hello to Ralph, Unabi. Let me scroll up here. Good to see all of you. I didn't get a chance to say hi at the beginning. And I should just do a quick check here to see if things are still working. Nice. Everything is working great. Let's get back to the lesson. Chaotic. So when something is chaotic, it is very disorganized and hard to control. This is my least enjoyable work environment. If I work with people who are disorganized, who are inefficient, who are unproductive, usually that means that the workplace is also a bit chaotic. They might be very messy people. I did one time teach in the same classroom as someone. So they taught the first class of the day. I taught the second class in the same room, and they were extremely messy, and their students were extremely messy. And so the classroom was very chaotic when I arrived to teach my class. I did not like that. It was very disorganized. And then chaotic, when you say hard to control, might relate to people as well. I know sometimes students are talking and throwing things and they are acting in a chaotic way. You would then describe the classroom as chaotic. You can use this for other workplaces as well. You can see this workplace is a bit disorganized. It's somewhat chaotic. I'm sure there's a reason why it looks like this, but chaotic, very disorganized and hard to control. Poorly run, managed badly and not organized. So this again reflects on the boss or the manager or your supervisor, the people who are deciding how the workplace goes every day, are not doing a good job. So you would say it is poorly run. There is nothing more frustrating than having a boss or a supervisor or a foreman or a foreperson or a manager who runs things poorly. When your workplace is poorly run, it causes you to be frustrated as a worker. And you might even end up being inefficient and unproductive because of how the person above you is running things. If something is poorly run, it is managed badly and not organized, not a good situation. Time saving. When you have something that is a time-saving device, it is helping you do something faster. This is probably the best example and my favorite example of something that is a time-saving device. This is a bread machine. You put all the ingredients in, and then 3 hours later, you have bread. I don't know if all of you have made bread by hand, whether you've done it in the way that's time-consuming, but making bread by hand without a machine can be very enjoyable, but it also takes a lot of time. So helping you do something faster, time-saving. At work, it is always nice to discover time-saving methods to do something or to buy a machine that is a time-saving device. A good example would be if you have a photocopier at work from 10 years ago, a new photocopier would be time-saving. It would help you make copies faster. And maybe you have a machine like a drill press or some type of saw, and it's really, really old. A new one might allow you to be more productive because it will be a time saver. You'll be able to do your job in half an hour instead of an hour because the machine is more efficient and it will save you time. Time consuming, taking a lot of time to finish. So whenever a job takes a long time, we say it is time consuming. When I have a stack of student work that I need to read and give a grade to, when I need to grade it, it is very time consuming. After students write an exam, that is a time consuming job to grade all of those exams. You might have things that you do at your work. Maybe you build things and the initial process of cutting all the parts or making all the parts is very time consuming. Maybe assembling the item takes 2 hours, but maybe it takes 2 days to make sure you have all the parts and to make all the parts. It can be very time consuming. So time consuming, taking a lot of time to finish. Fast paced, moving or changing very quickly. You can see here, this gentleman is working at a newspaper print shop. So that is a huge printer that is used to print newspapers. When you work for a newspaper, it is a fast-paced job. Things move quickly because you are reporting on the news. As soon as you are done with putting out one paper, you immediately start working on the newspaper for the next day. So it is a fast-paced world. If or a fast-paced job as well. If something happens in your city and you are a journalist, you need to go and find out what happened and quickly write a story so that it can be in the next paper. It is a fast-paced job. High quality. This is as close as I'll ever get to a Rolex, but my understanding is this is a high quality watch. It is made very well and meeting high standards. At work, if you do high quality work, it will be easier to sell your products or services. If you are someone who fixes houses or you build houses for people, if you build high quality houses, then people will eventually know that you do high quality work and they will want you to work for them. So high quality, made very well and meeting high standards. This is a high quality mug. I really enjoy this mug. This was from Miroslav a few years ago. I think it's actually Jen's mug. Does it say, it says Jen the Canadian? Yes, on it. That was a very nice gift. A very high quality mug. No no chips in the mug, even though I have used it quite a bit. Precise, very exact and accurate. So this is a multimeter. This is for measuring voltage or amperage or resistance in ohms. This needs to be very exact and accurate. If your battery is putting out 12.8 volts, you want to know exactly that it's putting out 12.8. You don't want it to say 11 or 12. You want to see the decimal points. So when something is precise, it is very exact and accurate. And you can do precise work. If you were building furniture, like if you were building a couch, like my new couch here, you would want to make sure that everything is cut exactly and precisely so that it fits together. You want to be precise in the work that you do. You want the holes in the right spots. You want the boards or the wood to come together perfectly. You want to do precise work so that the finished product looks really, really good. So precise, very exact, and accurate. Let me just check where I am here. Moving along. Durable, strong, and able to last a long time. So this is a multi-tool. This is a Gerber multi-tool, one of the better types of multi-tools that you can get. When I was a tech support person, I had one of these. I bought it because it was durable. It doesn't break easily, strong and able to last a long time. This, by the way, is a set of pliers. It is a screwdriver. There's like a little saw and a little knife built in. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife on steroids. I don't think I've ever taught that phrase before. Weightlifters can take steroids to make their muscles grow faster. And we use that phrase to talk about things as well, if they are better than the normal ones. Like a Swiss Army knife is a very nice pocket knife with blades. This is a Swiss Army knife on steroids. So it is a pair of pliers, a saw, there's probably an awl, which you use for poking holes in things, et cetera, et cetera. But it's made, I'm pretty sure it's a Gerber. It's very durable, strong, and able to last a long time. Defective. This is kind of the opposite, having a problem and not working properly. So this tire to me is flat, but it also looks somewhat new. So if this happened to me, I might think the tire is defective. Let's say I bought a brand new set of tires for my car, and when I got home from the garage, this happened. I don't think I would think I drove over a nail or something. I think I would immediately think that new tire must be defective. It must have a problem and it's not working properly. And then I would call the garage and get my vehicle brought to the garage so they could fix it. It's not very nice when you buy something that is defective right out of the box. It can be very, very frustrating and very, very, very annoying. So anyways, this tire is defective, something that is having a problem and not working properly. Reliable, working well consistently and can be trusted. I own Windows PCs, and I also have at school a MacBook for work. I find that most computers these days are reliable, but I don't prefer one over the other, but I do find MacBooks are very reliable. Like if someone said to me, what's your favorite thing about your MacBook? I would say it's very reliable. My Windows PCs that I use here, like for editing and stuff as well, there's a computer there with all this junk by it. They're very reliable as well. But this MacBook, for some reason, like I don't restart this every day. I just open it, use it, shut it, charge it, and it just keeps working. It is very reliable, working well consistently, and I can trust it 100%. It is a very trustworthy laptop to use. Labor intensive, requiring a lot of human effort. Now, you could have bought a machine or rented a machine to do this, and that would be more efficient. But sometimes when you dig a ditch, or I would actually call this a trench, it is labor intensive, requiring a lot of human effort. It simply means you need to use your muscles to do the work, or you need to use your brain to do the work. There are a few things that I can think of on the farm that are labor intensive. In the spring, Jen plants a lot of roots in the ground, and she has to dig in the ground with a shovel. It's very labor intensive. It's also very time consuming, if you could let me use a word that I taught earlier in the lesson. But labor intensive, requiring a lot of human effort. Hey, let's go to members only chat, and let's also answer some of the questions that are in the queue. Let me find the spot for members only. Here we go. Get that switched, and we should see that. Let me also just do a check to make sure things are working. And let's do a giveaway of a membership. Let's do that for a sec as well. So I am going to purchase a membership for someone. I'm not sure who will get it because it's random, but someone in the chat will see that pop up on the screen. And it says that Fish, is that who got it? Fish got a gift membership from Learn English with Bob the Canadian. So there you go. If you go to the posts section of these of this channel, you will now see all of the posts from that I post for my members. Okay, let's answer some questions here. I'll get to the chat in a sec. I see Know That is here. Good to see you, Know That. But I'm going to do this question first. Hi, Mr. Bob. Simple question. When do we use the verb to craft instead of regular to make or to produce? So craft has a sense that the person making it has lots of experience, is making it by hand, maybe, doesn't have to be by, and is doing a really good job. So for instance, if I built picnic tables, I could say I make picnic tables, but if I make really nice ones, you might say, oh, he likes to craft picnic tables. He likes to craft birdhouses. It has this sense that the person doing it is really, really good at it. We also call it their craft, like they're good at their craft. But to make is definitely the most common one. Yes. In fact, 99% of the time we would just, I'm going to make that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make that. From Lisa, and then I'll get to the members. Is the speaking speed you use in your videos and live streams the same as how you talk in real life with your family, friends, coworkers, high school students, or is it slower? I would say this. It's probably very similar to how I talk in class. Teachers tend to talk very clearly. They want students to understand everything they say. They want to clearly pronounce every word. So it's certainly not exactly the same as normal speak. If I was to say that again at normal speed, I would probably say this. It's pretty close to my normal speed. In the classroom, I probably speak a little bit slower because I want students to understand what I'm saying. But I do when I do these live streams, I do speak very carefully and quickly. But it is natural for me when I'm teaching to pause, to look at people's faces, to see if they're understanding and adjust my speed. Full display. So this is the couch for the members who saw the Wednesday video that almost didn't fit in the van. It came in 3 boxes. And we were picking someone up from the airport. So we had to leave 1 seat up in our van, and the 3 boxes on the first attempt did not fit. And then Jen and I figured out a different way to put them in. So we did get it home. So no more lawn chairs in the living room. Okay, members only chat. No, that says, hey Bob, what are you up to today or this weekend? Do you have anything special planned? Thanks in advance, Bob. It is the last day of school before winter break. And we have some events planned this afternoon outdoors. So I have to supervise high school students as they walk through town. We're actually walking to the arena and they're going to be going skating. So it's kind of an indoor. But because school is shorter, all my classes are in the morning today. So I need to get there as quickly as possible. Know that saying hi. John saying hi and talking to Bridget. Zeev says, hi Bob, what is the weather now? It is 1 degree Celsius. It is dropping to -6 degrees Celsius in the next 4 hours. So kind of a weird day. So it's going to be cold out there today. Bridget says, Aerosmith, my husband and son are responsible for the wine. Oh, I see. Talk about Christmas plans. Thanks for the gift membership, Brent, to Zeklin, who received a gift membership. Thanks for that generosity. Merry Christmas to Zeklin from Brent. No, that says, speaking of plans, Bob, I know I already asked you this a few weeks ago, but maybe something's changed since then. What are your plans for your Christmas break? Thanks, sir. Family dinners, shopping, because I have to finish my Christmas shopping. Nothing really big planned, like nothing. I think because like my kids are home from university and we'll probably play a lot of board games and I'll probably sleep in every day. And I'm going to keep going to the gym. So nothing super special other than normal Christmas type things. Ismail says, hi, Bob. I wanted to send you some things I thought you'd like, but unfortunately they couldn't be sent to a P.O. box. Yeah, that is unfortunate. That is how it works sometimes. Wanda says, hi, Teacher Bob. Are you efficient when cultivating flowers like your wife? No. Do you like it? Thanks a lot. I do like the business aspect of farming, and I do enjoy some aspects of the work, but I'm not really good at actually growing flowers. I'm better at building things and fixing things and stuff like that. Brent is asking John how fatherhood is going. Let me back up here. No, that says to Aerosmith, I'm doing my best, but I already have a few hikes planned for this time, so it shouldn't be too bad. Good plan. Get outside, enjoy the fresh air. Freddie, Bob, recently I heard the word doable. Faisable en français. Does this word really exist, and is it used frequently? Merci et joyeux Noël à tous. Yeah, it's doable. If a job looks hard, but you know how to do it, you would say, this is doable. This is doable. Let's get started. Totally. Yep. Kind of a slangy word a little bit, but definitely a word we use. John's telling Brent, I'm a little tired this week. Melissa's been waking up 3 times during the night since Monday, but everything's fine. Yes. Know that. By the way, have you got around to buying the rest of your Christmas presents in the meantime? I'm halfway done. Or are there still a few left? A heartfelt thank you as always, Bob. Yeah, I'm halfway done. I've done most of the what I could buy online and what I could buy at the stores that I did go to recently. So I'm halfway there. So, okay, as I do need to move along today, I'm going to turn off members only a little bit early. Sorry about that. Thank you again for being members. If you do have a question still, or if I missed yours, just yell at me in the chat. And I'm going to have a sip of water. I'm going to check the stream. It's just weird because on my control panel side, everything, it just says errors, but things seem to be working. So we're not going to stress too much about it. Let me just check one thing and then we will get back to the lesson. There we go. Okay, here we go. Let's finish this thing off. Automated, run mainly by machines or computers. So I don't think anything in the world is fully automated. When you look at this picture, you see it as a bottling plant. They are putting, looks like Coca-Cola in bottles. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. But you still have some people, but the majority of the process is automated. I think people are here just to make sure the machines are doing what they're supposed to do. So if there is a job that you do by hand, like let's say you fill the bottle, you put the cap on and you go like this, If you then start to use a machine to do it, we would say it is now automated. They have automated the process so that it can be done by a machine. And by the way, I don't know when to say process or process, because in Canada we use both pronunciations. So you can automate the process or you can automate the process. I blame my British and American cousins for Canadians sometimes not knowing when to use which pronunciation. Freddie Wolf says, Bob, ne t'inquiète pas, tu fonctionnes correctement. Excellent. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, folks. Understaffed, not having enough workers. So when I have been, at the times when I've been in a hospital for whatever reason, I have noticed sometimes that there aren't enough nurses and doctors. It is understaffed. So there, in my opinion, when I watch how much work they have to do, I feel like they are understaffed. I feel like they do not have enough workers for the jobs that need to be done. So understaffed, not having enough workers. At my school, we are not understaffed. We have exactly, in my opinion, the right number of teachers and teacher aides for the number of students we have. But if we suddenly had 5 teachers quit, we would be understaffed because we wouldn't have enough teachers for the number of classrooms. So understaffed, not having enough workers. Overworked, working too much or too many hours. So when you are understaffed, one of the problems that happens is you eventually are probably overworked. You end up working too much or too many hours. I also notice this in our healthcare system. We have a great healthcare system in Canada. I am not saying it's a bad healthcare system, but I do, when I see it, when I observe it, and I use my brain because I like things to be efficient and streamlined and well run and productive. And I don't like it when it's poorly run and chaotic and they're doing things that are time consuming and it's inefficient and wasteful. I think, we just need to spend a bit more money and get a few more people, a few more doctors, a few more nurses, and people would be, then it wouldn't be understaffed and people wouldn't be overworked. Safe, not dangerous. So you can use this word to describe the workplace. Is your workplace safe? If you work in a factory, are there guardrails? Does everyone wear eye protection and a hard hat and a safety vest? Is it safe? Or, of course, is it dangerous or hazardous? So my workplace, by its very nature, is quite safe. Some schools are a little more dangerous, depending on, I don't want to make too many comments, but there are a variety of schools. Most are very, very safe. But let's say you are a police officer. There might be parts of the city that are not safe, and that wouldn't be enjoyable. Then we would say, is your workplace safe? And you could say, sometimes, depends where I am. But of course, if something is safe, it means it's not dangerous. Hazardous, dangerous or risky. You can see this tank or pipe has 3 different warnings on it. I think it means you could get electrocuted, you could fall, and it's an enclosed space. So it's dangerous or risky to work there. When something is hazardous, you need to usually wear protective gear to work in that area. But it usually means, so dangerous is kind of a general term. When I say hazardous, I usually think of there's lots of machines moving, or there's chemicals, or you have to wear, you have to wear a face mask, or you have to have filters on your face mask if it's hazardous. So it's like to me, dangerous is here, and hazardous is like more dangerous than dangerous. Does that make sense? Consistent, the same over time. This is my favorite kind of workplace, one that is consistent. So you see here, I have a little picture of an assembly line. So there's sub-assembly and a conveyor belt and a lifting system and assembly stations. This is so they can produce something that is consistent. They want it to be the same over time. Let's back up to the bottling factory. When they bottle soda, they want it to taste the same. In every bottle, in every country, in every part of the world, they want it to be as consistent as possible. the same ingredients, the same recipe, the same method for preparing it. They want it to be extremely consistent. So consistent, the same over time. Rigid, very strict and not flexible. You might have a boss who has very rigid rules where sometimes you don't feel like wearing your hard hat, or sometimes I don't feel like doing my attendance. But if your boss is very rigid, they are very strict, not flexible, and they will enforce the rules. They will make sure that you do what you have to do in that workplace situation. I actually prefer a workplace that is rigid more than a workplace where it's kind of chaotic. I like it when there's rules and they're enforced and everyone does what they're supposed to do. So thanks to all my bosses who have been that way. It's made my workplace much more enjoyable. Hey, I'm going to finish off the questions in the queue, and then we are going to wrap up this lesson. From Ralph. Hi, Bob. Might be a good idea to go to your normal talking speed today. Could you be more efficient, especially today if you're in a hurry? I try. That's not my normal speed. That's faster than normal. Let me read this at my normal speed. Hi, Bob. Might be a good idea to go to your normal talking speed today. Could be more efficient, especially today if you're in a hurry. So yes, I could do the whole lesson. I should do a lesson someday at like ludicrous speed. Hasham. Hi, Bob. Sir, is obsolete word common in Canada like in the US? Yes. So things go obsolete. Obsolete usually is used for technology that is no longer useful. The phone I had 10 years ago is obsolete now. I don't even know if that phone would work with the current system in Canada. It is obsolete. Elena says, 17 years ago, I started to calculate all employers' benefits with Excel. Others did it on paper at that time. May I say I streamlined the work, or better say improved it. You improved it. You made it more streamlined. It's less time consuming probably. And I think it's more efficient because you can go back and look at previous years very easily. Freddie the Frenchie says, hi, Bob. No questions so far. I just want to wish you and your whole family a Merry Christmas. Thank you. I hope you'll get all the gifts you asked for Santa Claus. Joyeux Noël. La même à toi. Same to you. I think you could say that in French, right? From Linda, hi, Bob. What do you think about studying English through movies, sitcoms, and TV shows? Is the way characters speak the same as real life conversation? So, first of all, oh yeah, did I just reference Spaceballs? Ludicrous speed. Brent for sure referenced it. Here's my choice. Number one, reality TV is the closest you will find real English because there's no script. People are just talking. Number two, I think TV shows are better than movies because you can watch episode after episode and you can get to know the characters. And then number three, movies are fun, but it's kind of a one-up, we say. You know, there's just one movie. And it's not like if you watch 6 seasons of a TV show and there's 8 episodes in each season, that's a lot of good listening content. Very, very helpful. Judith, hi, Bob. Why did you choose a work-related topic right ahead of Christmas? Thank you. Because at my house, so I have 2 university-age kids who are home, but I'm still going to work every day. And my one son is still working every day, and Jen is still working every day. So in our house, we keep saying it's not Christmas break yet. We're still working. And so I just thought I'll do a work-related lesson because I am still in work mode. I don't know what that is. I'll skip that one. Jane, hi, Bob. Question 1. Why can I understand English when I read subtitles, but still can't understand it when I listen without them? Why does this happen? Let me see if question 2 is here. Question 2 is, how can I improve so I can understand without reading subtitles? Thank you. I always like to add, so a delay and repetition and speed. So here would be my strategy. Watch the video with subtitles on, wait a full day and watch it again with subtitles off, but turn the speed down to 90% or 80%. Also, it might be helpful to watch it with subtitles on. And if you are able to get a transcript, read the transcript, the next day before you watch the video with subtitles off. You just have to start finding different ways of doing the same thing so that your brain eventually starts to understand it. That's what I would say you need to do. And it was kind of the same question, right? Hopefully I answered it. From Freddie. Bob, do you have many places in your house in order to hide your gifts you have purchased? Have they been caught by your family before Christmas Eve? I'm not going to reveal the hiding places, but yes, we are pretty good at hiding things, I think. We'll see. Hasham, yes. Same question again. We do definitely use the word obsolete. Fritz, when can I say that someone is overloaded or overwhelmed? We would generally say this about an employee. They're overworked. That would probably be the better description. You can say overloaded, but when I think of overloaded, I think about a truck with too much stuff on it. The truck is overloaded. But if you're really busy at work and your boss is asking you to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, I would say you're overworked, and then you would be overwhelmed. That would be the feeling that you're having because you have too much work. Yeah, I skipped it, Ismail. Because I wasn't sure if I should, it looked cryptic and I wasn't sure I should put it on the screen. So I just skipped it. I was like, I'm not sure what this is. So Vanessa, maybe you can leave a comment and let me know. Hello, Bob. How can I speak English automatically and fluently so I don't have to think in my head before I speak like a native speaker? Much love, Bob. So there are a lot of roads towards this, but all of them are long and it's going to take time. Learning English is time consuming. You do have to spend time on it. If in particular, you want to speak fluently and be able to listen and understand clearly, you should be practicing your conversation a lot. And my best advice would be get a tutor. There are places like Preply where you can find a tutor. That is the best way for you to eventually start thinking in English. For me, I know when I was practicing my French, at a certain point, when I was having French conversations, it's just started to flow a little more naturally. I think I became better at it. Okay. It's one of those rare mornings where I'm just going to click the outro button and leave. So it's 9:17. I have to be at work I can make it, but I should get going. So anyways, thanks for watching. This video will come out in a shorter version. I will edit it and put it out in a couple of days. I will have a short Christmas message on Tuesday. That's my plan for Tuesday. There will be a live lesson next week, Friday, and there will be a live lesson the Friday after. But other than that, I'm going to be very quiet on my channel. There will be no week at a glances for 2 or 3 weeks. There will be no Wednesdays with Bob. I'm going to spend some time with my family, but I will be here every Friday for about an hour. And I think, and I also think, oh, I'm glad I didn't put the code on the screen then. Thanks. I will remember that. It will be in my spreadsheet. Thanks very much, Ismail, for that. What was I going to say? Oh, and I think I'll be doing a live stream on like January 3rd as well. Yeah, I'll do that the first Saturday in January. Anyways, thanks for hanging out. Have a great weekend. Bye.